For the 41st time, we head to the Golden State to see Western Australia's best take on the rest of the nation.
Advantage to Kapiris again. The burst panel blows on the Procon car, and he's not going to win again, and Kapiris does it. 581 ET of the weekend, just a whisker under 400 k's an hour.
With a monster 19-car field, top Doorslammer welcomes some new faces. Mark Chapman, Simon Travellini, Pat Carboni and Shane Catalano make their debut and are excited to make an impression on the Doorslammer scene.
On my first time at the drags, I was probably 15 years old, and before that I'd wanted to go circuit racing, and then I saw John Zapier come out and do a half-track burnout, and that was it. I just said, one day I'm going to drive one of those cars.
After an epic fight for the Australian Nationals trophy, Peter Kapiris has had little time to reflect following a scary moment between himself and Victor Bray.
I saw Pete's car go boom in the other lane with flames coming out the windows, and I could see inside the cab. There was no chance of him seeing because of the flames and the stuff inside the cab. He would have no chance of seeing where he was going. I thought I could get up beside him. It was too close, so I just backed off, hit the brake. Because he couldn't see, turned into me at the last minute. We just collided, and he went into the fence. So very lucky situation, could have been a lot worse.
This is the 41st annual Golden States from Kwinana Beach, Western Australia. And so the points look like this after the first round of the Australian Nationals in Sydney. Kapiris, what an unbelievable night that was for him, or weekend. Gary Phillips in second, Ben Bray third, Cannuli, Bishop, Sutton, Gillespie and Valeri. But throw all that out the window, Rusty, because we're here in the Golden West at Kwinana Beach. Time for a commotion by the ocean. 4 newcomers in this massive 19-car field.
Yeah, and a lot of West Australian cars. Great to see the local guys coming out and supporting the race meeting over here. Pat Carboni here in his first meeting as a top Doorslammer racer. A fantastic pass, legs it across the line for a 6.03 with a 5. Great run for Pat Carboni.
A .98 to the 60-footer, very, very competitive. Here's Pino Priolo, his 37 Chevy Doorslammer, your Sid Chrome Spotlight. Formerly a sprint car champion, his son David still is one of the best in Western Australia. A massive family who just love their motorsport. And Pino trying to get himself into this big 19-car field as we go down to 8. Victor Bray alongside him in this qualifying run, and the Sid Chrome Chevy looks the goods. Very nice run for Victor Bray. A 6.02, still, Rusty, just outside that elusive 5-second run for Victor.
It has been a brand new personal best there for Victor. We've got Peter Kapiris now legging it on through for a great run, a 5.87 in the first session. How's that for a backup to 5.80?
As the burns, they're remarkably healed, which is the good news. Cannuli doing double duty, running the slammer and the alcohol car. Again, massive contribution to the sporty runs. A 6.05 in the mark in that nearest lane. And I'm a force that this gets me very excited. The Martin Dack BA in the right-hand lane, furthest from our camera alongside Priolo.
Yeah, new look for Marty Dack this year. Has got the sponsor board, pump three. A great run, a 5.99 with an 8, gets it in the 5-second zone. That's what those guys would have been shooting for.
Yeah, spectacular too at the end of the line. Plenty of ground here at the Perth.
Shane Catalano and Andrew Snell. Catalano, green, Studi Baker, big mode for Catalano.
Oh my goodness, that car is toast. An enormous crash for Catalano. Something went wrong in the rear end of that car. It just snapped left then.
Shane, it's your worst nightmare. What on earth happened out there?
Well, just dropped the clutch and smashed the throttle as you always do, and it was going pretty good, and then it got into shape pretty early, and it shook pretty hard, and I'm pretty sure I got off the throttle before I actually turned, but you get off the throttle and it was just turned hard left, and then you're just a passenger, you can't do anything. It was just out of control. I'm not hurt, apart from copping a hit from the nuts on the bloody crutch belt, but yeah, it's a lifetime saving to get to this point, and it's going to be hard coming back.
Oh man, the Rude Stood is in ruins. Let's hope that Catalano can get back. Morris Fabietti, fabulous. Hoping to have that kind of a weekend. He's strong here in the West. This looks like a nice run for him too. The Holden Monaro comes in a 5.88 with a 9. He'll be very happy with that, Rusty.
Yeah, a lot of help coming from Stuart Rowland this week, and at Stuart's local track as well. Got another pair of cars up now. It is Murray O'Connor and Daniel Gregorini, two of the local boys. And what a pass Murray O'Connor is on. Another 5-second pass, a 5.99 with a 4 this time around. First ever time in the 5-second zone for Murray O'Connor.
Yeah, spent the entire off-season rebuilding the Big Falcon and is absolutely weapon quick right now. Now, this bloke owns this house. The top Doorslammer main man when it comes to the West, John Zappia. Didn't qualify at the Australian Nationals, and hello, not a pretty run, but it looks good, Rusty, and look at the time. A 5.82 with an 8, and it was ugly.
It was ugly. He drove that thing the long way to the finish line, but he is the #1 qualifier with a 5.82. Peter Kapiris in second with a 5.87. Morris Fabietti, the local boy Murray O'Connor, Marty Dack, Victor Bray, Pat Carboni, and John Cannulli rounding out the top 8 with a 6.05.
To the pit report now, and John Zappia joins me. John, Sydney, you didn't qualify, and I thought I jinxed you, but you've come out tonight, first qualifying, and you've posted the fastest pass. You are the comeback king.
Yeah, well, it's a home track, and we just looked at what we did in Sydney and went, look, we've got to get back to basics. The cars, the Fuchs Striker Monaro's been new paint job today, and I nearly took it off on the second run. So, yeah, we tried to put the Sydney tune-up back in for that one, and it didn't like it. We thought it was just the track at Sydney, but obviously it was the way we had the setup in the car wasn't right. So now we know where we are. So look out. From here on, we're just going to creep up on it slowly and hopefully have a good race car for first round tomorrow.
So here's your Sid Chrome top Doorslammer race ladder. Zappia v Cannulli, O'Connor and Dack, Kabiris and Carboni, Fabietti up against Victor Bray. In front of a massive crowd here for the Goldenstates 41st running of this time-honoured event at one of the premier motorsport facilities, certainly in the Southern Hemisphere, if not the world, Rusty. Just over the top there is the Speedway as well. What an amazing facility this place is.
It really is a stunning facility, this one, and the racers love coming over here. The crowd is very, very knowledgeable, especially about their door slammers. We've got Peter Kapiris now and Pat Carboni coming out for their first round of racing, and the very first round of eliminations for Pat Carboni in top door slammer.
Yeah, spare a thought for Pat. Oh, nice burnout too. Got the thing very nicely lit up to come up against Kapiris, who's already run a very strong 5.87 with a 6 after the dramas he encountered and then went on to win the Australian Nationals. What a story that was. But as we know, a week is a long time in drag racing.
Drag racing has this habit of coming back and biting you. And, well, Pat Carboni, he's a bit of a dark horse here. We don't know a lot about him. We know he's been racing in the top comp bracket over here in WA for quite some time. But he stepped up with this new car and, well, he's made it into the field when there were some big names that didn't. So he can certainly be a danger here to Peter Kapiris.
And if you're in the top 8, Rusty, you've done a hell of an amount of work because there was 19 of them coming into the event as we prepare the Kapiris car for competition. You've got to watch the West Aussies in their home turf. Stranger things have happened. Kapiris about to come into stage up against Carboni in the left-hand lane as we look out the windscreen.
You can see the crew just spraying the injectors, making sure they don't freeze up. Yes, that's right. These injector hats suck so much air they actually freeze shut if you don't spray the lubrication on them. And you can see Pat Carboni, the office. There's so much going on inside there in just under 6 seconds.
Good light for Kapiris. Oh, it's a wriggle. Carboni's going to go through. He puts Kapiris away. A 6.07 for Carboni. Welcome to Doorslammer racing.
Wow. Knock out the former national champion, Peter Kapiris. That is a huge one for Pat Carboni. And you can see he just had to give it a pedal there, Peter Kapiris, and that was all it took. A 6.07. Great run from Pat Carboni.
What a moment for Carboni. Watch the way here, Kapiris, as you said, had to step it. And that is critical. You lose tenths, 100ths, 1,000ths of a second in Doorslammer. It will come back to eat you. Hasn't this guy been a staunch supporter of the Red Army? The Holden Trade Club Monaro of Morris Fabietti. What a great character for the sport as well. FabiettiRacing.com.au. There are those familiar eyes through the helmets.
Yeah, very intense sort of racing. But once you get him outside the car, he's a very personable sort of guy. Very, very good with the fans. Very approachable. But this weekend, he's actually got Stuart Rowland on board. Now, you may know that name because Stuart Rowland was a man who masterminded Robin Judd's surge to the top in Top Doorslammer. Never got the championship, but man, he came very, very close quite a few times. Now, Stuart Rowland still getting his head around the car. First weekend with the team, but obviously he's found some things with Morris running that fantastic 588 in the qualifying.
And Victor, with a personal best of a 6:02, has not yet made it into the fives. He comes up alongside his old sparring partner Fabietti, closest to camera, here at the Kwinana Beach Perth Motorplex. The 41st Golden State, Fabietti has red lit. It is over for the Monaro. Long, long way to come to go home like that, Rusty.
It is, but he would have had a hard time beating Victor Bray, even if he cut a perfect reaction time. Victor Bray, 6:02 for the win. Morris Fabietti, a 6:16, probably a little bit below what those guys were expecting. But Victor Bray with the round win, that one is going to be hugely popular with the fans over here in WA.
A 6:02 in qualifying, a 6:02.4 in elimination, so Victor very consistent in that Sid Chrome Chevy. And here is the Midwest Pump Creek entry, which is surprising everybody with the way that Martin Dack has attacked this racetrack so far.
Yeah, he's come out very, very aggressive. He ran his first 5-second pass in qualifying. He's up against a guy who also ran his first 5-second pass in qualifying, that is Murray O'Connor. Now, the Murray O'Connor car, they have gone through this car from the front bumper to the back bumper, from the roof to the bottom frame rail. They have changed everything inside this car in a bid to get it into top Doorslammer trim and competitive top Doorslammer trim. And it seems to have worked. They've qualified in this very, very tough field.
Both these guys running their first ever 5-second passes. To put that in perspective, Victor Bray, Mr. Top Doorslammer, has yet to reach that figure, has been quoted as saying he doesn't want to go to the grave without a 5-second against his name. Dack against O'Connor, pair of West Aussies here at their home base.
Both cars in stage. O'Connor, bit lazy on the line there, 2-4 on the tree, but can he get around him? Looks like he just pips him at the finish line. Marty Dack goes 6:17. O'Connor, no time recorded, but he does get the win light there.
388 kilometres an hour will get your attention. Not the best start by O'Connor by any means, but he gets himself through to the next round. Dack will be filthy. Beautifully turned out pair of boards in varying pedigree there. And there is Dack. Good run. At least they've got some good data for their next performance whenever that round is for them here in Western Australia.
Absolutely. Now, here's the one that a lot of people have come to see. It is John Zappia up against John Canuli. John Canuli doing double duty again this weekend in Top Alcohol and Top Doorslammer. And I've got to say, he's doing it pretty well.
Hard to get your head around having to compete in such different categories of drag racing on the weekend and the pressures. And, of course, let's throw in Kirsten Canuli as well, his wife, running in Pro Stock. A massive operation. The Big Lift Cranes entry about to come into stage. Up against John Zappia. Good luck to him.
Yeah, this is going to be a big ask because everyone knows when you come up against John Zappia, especially at the Perth Motorplex, he is going to go from point A to point B very, very quickly. Now, John Canuli knows he's going to have to strap a light on here because his performance was probably down compared to what we've seen from Zappia, so he knows he needs to make up some time on the tree. This
is Zap's house. They wait to bring in the K-Trans, Fuchs, Striker, Pro Comp entry. He's never short on sponsorship, this bloke. A lovable West Aussie here in front of a very parochial hometown crowd. What can Canuli do with him? Red light on Canuli for the 3rd time in a row. That is heartbreaking.
Wow, 6:01 for Canuli. Not a bad run, but a 5:93 gets the win for John Zappia. Good opportunity to test the track there. But I tell you what, if Canuli would have had any light in the O's, he probably would have come close to beating John Zappia there. That was a huge chance for him, and the red light just threw it out the door.
395 kilometres an hour, just under 400. As you said, Canuli is actually a fairly strong run, pretty well down the sticky stuff. And Zapier will go through to the next round, much to the delight of this enormous West Aussie crowd. Zapier will face O'Connor, pair of West Aussies right there, and Carboni lives to fight another day, so he comes up alongside the king in the semis. Coming up shortly, the Sid Chrome race ladder, telling a very interesting story. With almost 20 door slammers in the field this weekend, there's 4 newcomers who are approaching the weekend with cautious optimism.
Hopefully a threat. We've got everything in the right spot at this point in time, so we should be able to mix it with them. But if we don't today, we'll just continue on and just persist with it. I think I've got what it takes, and I think the crew's right in there now, and I've got a guy over from the US which has helped me. I think he's got what it takes to be up there with the best of them.
To be the underdog, it's a big challenge, and I'm pretty honoured to be racing amongst the sport's greatest, and hoping I can not make a fool of myself out there, and maybe if we can qualify, that'd be really good.
Well, we've got to become fully functional at a higher level than what we were before in Supercharged Outlaws. It's a whole new vehicle, new engine combination. It's a Hemi engine versus a little baby small block Ford, which we had before. So we've got a lot of learning.
I'd say we're the biggest underdogs here. We need to basically find half a second. In drag racing terms, that's light years. So, you know, we'll give it a crack. If we qualify, that'll be like winning a championship for us.
As day goes into night, cooler conditions here at the Perth Motorplex for the top door slammer semi-finals. The Goldenstates, 41st running of, would have started back in the day at the Ravenswood Raceway, the now defunct Ravenswood. The Perth Motorplex, arguably one of the finest motorsport facilities in the world. I do love this power play entry of Carboni, and what a fairy tale weekend he's having, Rusty.
It is. Just to get into the field would have been spectacular for Pat Carboni, but to get through the first round over a guy like Peter Kapiris, now he's taking on one of the legends of the sport. It is Victor Bray in the Sid Chrome Tools 57 Chevy.
What can this man do? It's been a long, long time since he's had a championship round win. The folks from Sid Chrome certainly backing an icon regardless of his win rate. He does bring the fans. He does have a legion of loyal followers. Interestingly, not to see Ben Bray in this field, in this qualifying field as well, Rusty, something I didn't think we'd see.
Yeah, had a lot of trouble with tyre shake over the course of the weekend. Only a best run of a 7.9 second pass. Not good enough to get into the field, and as a result, Victor Bray is the last man standing in the family as far as eliminations go.
And Stewie Bishop, of course, missed the show as well. So did Priolo, so did Chapman, so did Andrew Sutton in the Vet. O'Rourke, West Aussie in the Monaro. Morris Brennan didn't make the field. Neither did Travaglini or Gregorini. So, man, when you put 19 of them out there and you get down to the 4 best, you better have your A game.
And Pat Carboni is going to have to be sharp here. He knows he's going to have to strap a lot on. Victor Bray has been so consistent this weekend, just going out 6.02, 6.02. He could enter that thing in Super Sedan if he really wanted to, and I reckon he'd go some rounds.
This will be a fantastic battle, Carboni. The fans would love to see a West Aussie get here, but they'd probably have divided loyalties because Victor Bray's popularity transcends state borders, that's for sure. This lovable larrikin, a tomato farmer originally, though the motorsport has certainly gotten in the way of that side of things. We look in and check some light fingers on the wheel for Carboni, facing Bray.
A huge hole shot for Victor Bray, 119 on the tree. Looks like he's got this one in the bag. What's the number? It is a 5-second pass. Victor Bray finally gets it, a 5.96 at 391 kilometres per hour. He has been trying for that number for so many years, and you can see the elation on the crew's face.
Yes, elation and relief. There is his wife, Marie. Cuddles all round. He just got the thing out of the hole beautifully. A .119 light, and it tracked pretty well down the middle. It did wander a little bit towards the centre line, but it's a shot looking back, Rusty. I want to see, just watch the team when they realise.
Well, you can see Marie Bray there is already pumping a fist. She knows that this is on a good run, and man, Victor Bray, he is going to be so happy with that, the big fella.
Victor Bray, you've been pushing the 5s all weekend, 5.96. You're through. Tell us about that one.
No, it was good. Car felt great. The boys stepped it up a bit for me there. It was just good, you know. The car did definitely feel better. Now I know what a 5-second run feels like.
What about the final then?
Depends who I got there, yeah. I mean, there's one tough man sitting down the start line there, and we'll just have to see how it all goes.
We know you're a king though and you can do it. Well done.
Yeah, this is drag racing. We didn't have to. We knew he was going to win. We wouldn't have to come at him.
Yeah, now he's got to focus on actually winning the round if he can. He's into the final, but that matters little right now as we see Murray O'Connor. What a dream run for Murray. Things are going swimmingly until he fronts up alongside Zappia in the Fuchs Striker Crushing Pro Comp entry.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Another local boy, another local versus the interstate racer. In fact, two locals, I should say. John Zappia, immensely popular, probably on par with Victor Bray as far as fan popularity over here in WA. But Murray O'Connor's a guy who's been around for a long time. He's made a lot of runs up and down this track. He's got plenty of data. If anyone can do it, he can.
Mate, Zappia just looks quick sitting there. A 1-4 for O'Connor. Zappia a 1-6 light, and he is gone all the way to the bank. A 5.88 with a 4. Thank you very much. Zap's back.
Yeah, Zap's back. He's got lane choice in the final round over Victor Bray. Few problems for Murray O'Connor. It looked like it was shooting a few sparklers out the left-hand side of the engine. And he knew it. He shut the car off. You can see on this pass right here. It gets to about the half-track mark. He did a great job of driving it, and a few sparklers out, and he gets the shoots out. He knows that thing was eating itself up.
John Zappia, 5.88, and you're through to take Mr. Doorslammer. Where's your head at?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I was hoping Victor would run a 5, and I was hoping he'd run a 5 against me in the final, actually, so it would have been a really good moment for him, but he'd done one already, so he's going to be more psyched for the final. The Fuchs Striker Monaro ran like a clock, that one. It just revved up, it did everything right, and felt a little bit better than a 5.88, but I'll take that.
Two very different personalities shaping up now in the final. John Zappia and Victor Bray. Your Sid Chrome Doorslammer race ladder shows us how we get to this point. What a battle. A couple of fan favourites square off in the final.
To the pit report now, and Victor Bray joins me. It's finals time. Two cool cats up against each other. What's the mood in the camps like?
It's pretty cool. Like I say, John Zappia, we've raced dozens and dozens of times over the years, especially in the early days. Now, you got to remember, he's holding their performance advantage over me by about a 10th at the moment, and you know he's over there hotting it up. He wants to run a 70 here this weekend. So, and when you take those sort of risks, you might screw up. So what I got to do is make sure I get my car down the racetrack, reasonable time, cut a reasonable light, and try and get down the other end. But, you know, I feel the pressure in the early rounds and in qualifying. By the time you get to the final, you've had a pretty good day.
So now we play for all the marbles. The 41st Goldenstates and the Australian Top Doorslammer Championship Round 2 final sees Victor Bray and John Zappia square off. A couple of boys who don't mind a burnout or three. Have a look at that. There's barely room for another sponsor logo on there, though. If he could fit it, I'm sure Zappia would try.
I'm sure he would. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for these guys because track conditions have changed considerably. We saw the first round of racing was run in full sunlight. Second round, probably twilight. Not quite dark, not quite still sunny. But this time, it is quite late at night. The track's a little bit cold, a little bit dewy, and we could see a bit of an upset here. You've got to say the favourite, Zappia, being the local with all the knowledge, but Victor Bray has been on a tear this weekend, got his first 5-second pass in the semi-final, and, well, I think this is going to be a good one.
I know he's thrilled that he got the 5, but the job is not done yet for Victor Bray until he gets the round win. This rivalry goes back to the 90s, and the early 90s at that, Rusty. These guys have been squaring off for the best part of 20 years.
Well, they're at the foundation of Top Doorslammer. They raced in the Wild Bunch days. They raced in Super Stock. They raced everywhere, up and down the East Coast, all the way over to WA. And Victor Bray's pumped. He wants to get out there. He wants to beat his old mate, John Zappia.
He just looked over to his wife, Marie. He always says a couple of words to him as she opens up the door. And then it's time to get after it. Iconic Australian drag racing heroes here. You can see the frost coming off the blower right now, as you said. Very cool, dewy conditions, Rusty. Zappia v Bray. What a matchup for the Golden States. And look at Zap.
Yeah, Zappia, he's waving his hands around inside that car. I'm not quite sure what's going on. He's not happy with something.
What is going on here? Calling an official over. There's problems for Zappia here.
I think he's having some trouble seeing the Christmas tree. He is. This is a mirror that he's actually put into the car to look at the reflection around the supercharger. That huge supercharger makes it very, very difficult to stage, and that's his problem. He couldn't see the Christmas tree wave.
Talk about drama. Could you add any more into it? Cold and dewy conditions. The Golden State hanging on at round 2 of the Australian Doorslammer Championship.
Oh, another big hole shot for Victor Bray. Picks up the front end and it's over. Victor Bray gets his first win in 6 years at a new PB as well, a 5.95 at 391 kilometres per hour. John Zappia, great driving job. You can see how hard this car turned. Did a great job to keep it off the centre line. But Victor Bray, those guys have got to be wrapped with that.
It looked like a mosh pit in Team Bray. Have a look at them react here. They know that it's gone, and look at him jumping up and down. You cannot hand a man a greater win than that. Victor Bray in this Sid Chrome Chevy wins the Golden State.
Victor Bray, Golden States winner, 5.5 a PB for you. Well done.
Fantastic. No, it's some days are roses, aren't they? No, things have gone really well for us today. We've tried some new stuff. The car's been running really well. The crew's been running good. Heard an engine early, and hey, when you're racing John Zappia in the final, you better be on your game, that's for sure.
Well, here's the points up to round 2. Kapiris still leads, though Victor Bray has certainly entered the battle here. Zappia third, Phillips, quiet weekend for him. Likewise, Ben Bray, Valeri, Canuli and Bishop. We head to round 3 with Kapiris, a 38-point leader.